Okay, it is officially time for my thoughts on Devil May Cry 5. Yeah. While this is happening, I'm just gonna be going through the main menu for fuck's sake. I don't know. Let me doing stuff, okay? But that's not really the important part. So honestly, the main thing that I'd have to say, I have to start with something bad about it, and honestly, that would just be why. Why was it so short? Honestly, like, I do not know why it was so short. Like, they literally were giving you new stuff at the very end of the game. And it also did the thing that, like, that you see like, a lot of older games, but not really recently. And that's, like, adding mechanics just for that one time, or that you only use, like, 5 times in the total game. And like that was the thing where, the blood vein thing that you just launched you up into the sky, not necessarily into the sky, but just in general, it just moved you about, and it wasn't actually anything good. You literally just went from, like, wherever you are and then got launched upward. And, like, so what? Whoop-de-doo. How is that helping? What is that doing? Like, I understand, yeah, it got you, Really? There we go. I understand that it got you, like, further and everything, but... but honestly, just in general, it wasn't anything that great. And I don't understand why they did it. Same with, like, the stinking bug that would feed on the other things. It was like, why? What? This is just opening a pathway for me real quick? Oh, cool. It's nice to know that this bug does that. And I kind of thought it was stupid. It really wasn't anything that, like, special in my opinion. And, like, I definitely enjoyed the hell out of the game in general, to be completely honest. Like, there was a lot of fun things, the moments, like, the battles were great, the bosses were fun, the enemies were good, but it just, like, every issue that I have with it seems to be an issue with the size of the game itself. Like, honestly, they just... Why? Why couldn't they make it a longer game? Like, I don't know whether they just focus too much on, like, too many different aspects or what, but, like, honestly, there was, like, 20-some missions in the game, and, like, some missions were literally, like, 10 minutes. And I understand that, like, in the actual game itself, that, like, the time was only, like, a single day or something like that. But it was just like, why? Why? Why is this necessary? It's like, I was talking about it a lot, like, in the actual thing itself, where, like, everything was just added to, oh, look, one single day went by. Cool. Or not one single day. Like, 10 minutes went by, and you're just sitting there to yourself, like, so? Like, just honestly, like, what? Like, 15 minutes. Why can't you just have that last a little bit longer? What was that affecting by not letting it last longer? Why couldn't this have been over the time span of a couple days to months? Like other games, there will be entire years can go by, and you just have to deal with it. But in this, no, like, in this, everything happens in the same day, and it's just like, why? Why can't you do literally anything else? As I said, they literally, like, they gave you the King Cerberus item right before you fought the technical, like, actual final boss. I don't really... Okay, kind of spoilers alert, but you're watching my thoughts and all. But, like, I understand when you're fighting Urizen, or technically still Virgil, when he's in his demon form. Like, I understand, yes, there's still the fight after that when you fight him legitimately, and when you fight him again as Nero, but it's just like, why? Why? And then, like, not only that, but then after that, there's literally, like, one other time that you can properly try out that item. And I understand that there are games modes like this, but that doesn't necessarily mean, that doesn't mean that, like, oh, wow, okay. Like, it's a good idea to do this. It's just like, why? Why was this item even put in if it's just going to get so little gameplay in the actual game itself? And not only that, another, like, mechanic that they added was the stupid, like, platforms that you had to stand on just to shoot the darn thing. There are some weapons that, like, some things, like, weapon-wise, are just completely stupid, in my opinion. Like, honestly, I really don't think the King Cerberus is really that great in general. And, like, the giant motorcycle thing, like, it looks so cool, and, like, I was so happy for it. But then it did nothing. It was such a bad weapon, like, in all actuality. And I don't know. I don't know what more to say. Besides the fact it's just like, it was just stupid. I don't know how else to put it. Besides, just annoying. Just really, really stupidly annoying. I don't know. Like, as I said, the main problem could honestly just be solved if the game itself was just longer. If they just allowed the game keep going on, and, like, after you defeat Virgil, things continue to happen, it would have been a lot better. Like, I liked the enemies. I think there was, like, a shortage, in my opinion, of enemies that had, like, the weird vein powers, I'm just gonna call them. Like, there was, like, the dude with the giant cleavers. And, you know, when he got knocked down, he'd, like, charge back at you. And he had, like, the weird purple veins going through him. And then there was another guy that was, like, that, sort of, anyway. Where it was... shoot, what was it? He was, like, the Reaper dude who could, like, spawn other enemies. And, like, there was only those two guys. There's a lot of things that I wish that, like, that they did kind of expand a little bit more on in that method, like the whole class method for that all the different characters sort of had. Okay, that's stupid. But, like, I enjoyed each of the characters. I thought that, like, the different character classes were good. But there's only, like, the 4 of each type of weapon for Dante. Like, in my opinion, the whole reason you make a class is because you can have multiple things. Now, I know you could do that with Nero, but that was only his hand and nothing else. Now, I really didn't fully expand upon that as much as I kind of wish I did. To be completely honest, it was something that as I said, I wish that I did go into more kind of like detail with things like that. With like checking out each of his different hands and kind of seeing all the different capabilities that the other dudes had. I can't land like all of those insane combos and everything, and I'm just not really good in those regards. And because of that, like, that's why I really didn't fully go through that, and I just kind of stuck with what I wanted to stick with, the same weapons and everything. And I understand that, like, probably a lot of people are like that, where once they find something they like, they're not gonna expand that much upon it. But at the same time, like, I wish there was a little bit more. Not necessarily for Nero. There really wasn't much you could do for what's his face, V. And besides that, like, there was only like a few things. there really wasn't a ton that could be done. As I said, I wish that Dante technically, like, I know he had like the most weapons in general, but I do wish that he had like more of a like a change / variety in his weapons. Well, I guess there was a pretty good variety, but just a change in his weapons. This actually made me think of how his swords themselves did change from like each iteration, but like that's not what I'm talking about. Like, this is what I'm talking about, actually changing the weapons themselves. And I did like the change in weapons. Like, this is literally a motorcycle chain blade thing to weird nunchuck staff. And I thought that was great, but I just, as I said, I really only stuck with like the rocket launcher that he had. And this item right here, or whoosh, was stupid. Really stupid in my opinion. But it just, I wish that they had a bit of a difference there. What else can I get specific about? Wish was longer. The mechanics, you'll really only used a few times throughout the entire games. They're more of like a situational type thing than it seemed like it was anything else, to be completely honest. I'm just gonna stick on this screen. Already went through that. I already went through like the lack of variety. It kind of seemed in the work, well, like a good variety in weapons, but not good in terms of like creating your own custom classes. Like, they really should have like kept Dante's Rebellion and the Sword of Sparta, the sword, and made you be able to like swap between them and Dante's blade. Now I understand that they were all like very similar type of styles, but still, like, it's still just something you could do. Nero, maybe be able to change his blade into something else. I didn't really like Nero's whole thing where he could charge up his thing. Maybe be able to, I don't really know what you'd be able to do to V. And honestly, like, I would have loved, like, after you technically defeated Virgil, and then they cut down the thing in the demon world, if they made it so that Virgil, like, was another playable character. And then they honestly kept those, like, the mind creations of Griffin and the Jaguar and Monster, and he, like, you could reuse them or something like that on Virgil, or just different things like that. And he had V's cane as an alternate weapon. I would just wish that the game kept going. Like, the enemy Riot, I think is, no, not Riot, that was like the first one, like Siren or something like that. You literally fight them like twice in the entire story. It's like, that's not good, in my opinion. Like, when you're unlocking things through a game, I truly think that the final thing that you unlock should be the halfway point through the game. So, in my opinion, the Cerberus fight should have been the halfway point. And that was like the 90% you're almost done point. And, like, that's just really stupid. You got the Cerberus thing that as I said, I barely used. You Like, I know that is my own fault that I really didn't experiment more with the weapons, but at the same time, it didn't give me a ton of an opportunity. Like, I didn't fully upgrade anything with red orbs. Now, I understand that's partially my fault with not being, like, better at the game to get more red orbs, but at the same time, I've been like, I understand you can keep playing the game, and there's these extra things in the game, but I would rather opt for more game itself, especially a story-driven game, over being able to do all these side things that are really cool. Okay, nice. I enjoy doing it, I guess, but that doesn't mean, you know, that it's done. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. Like I just wish there was a bit more to it. In general, as I said, like, everything in my opinion stems from the game being too short. Like, all the mechanics, as I said, they just felt like situational mechanics, which they all kind of were, that really just filled to move you along instead of for like an actual good point that consistently appeared, which I'm okay with that happening in games. I don't like it, so that's why I am bringing it up. I wish that they didn't, but I know that it does happen here and there. And like, if you did have a longer game, that would be solved. Like, you'd be able to use it more, or yeah, I would say use it more, honestly. Using it more would be the way to prevent me from being annoyed by it. Making certain situations in the game, not necessarily where you have to use a weapon, but where it's, like, more encouraged to use a certain weapon over others. Like, make it where if you activate something specific, or like, you'll get into an area and you'll do something and it'll be like, oh, such and such weapon has bonus damage during this, or something along that line, where it like encourages you to step out of your comfort zone and use those other weapons. You don't want to force someone to use the weapons they don't like, because then it's, you hate that part of the game, and you're like, oh, I hate when this part of the game comes around because I can't do this. And like, no. You want people to use what they want to do. And I guess that is kind of like the problem when you, like, as I said earlier, where I would like more customization things, because when you do that, like, there's a lot of customization stuff that you put in the game that isn't going to be used, and that I do find, like, annoying. Like, I can understand, well, for, like, a developer's kind of perspective, but still, I wish the game was longer. I wish that the Cerberus fight was like more of the halfway point, that after you defeat Virgil and, you know, you befriend everything, that you then, like, can play Virgil. The next part of the game is you getting Virgil and Dante out of, like, the demon world. Maybe actually be able to play Lady and I can't remember the other person's name. Cannot do it. Be able to play them, you know, maybe that'd be kind of nice, but no, you can't. What the times where you were capable of picking what character you want. Now, I did appreciate that as the game went on, it did swap between the characters, at least pretty reasonably, but once Dante was unlocked, you played as Dante more than anyone else in this game. And not only that, but there were only 2 times throughout the entire game that you could pick what character you wanted to be through a certain section. There was the first time where you could be V or Nero, and then the second time when you could be all 3 of them. Like, cool and all, but how about you give more opportunities of this, which yet again would be better if the game was longer. And, you know, like, once that's another thing, that you could give more opportunities when Dante's and Virgil are trying to get out of the demon world. You could pick between, you want to play as either Virgil or Dante, and then it'll swap back up to the normal world, and then you can play as Nero, and as I said, maybe you can swap between being Nero and being Lady and whatever. I wouldn't exactly do that, because then you're just opening more characters and more items and more things that you need to fill with red orbs. But that's another thing, like, it just didn't give me a full, like, set of completion. I did touch upon this earlier where I'm like, I didn't max out anything except for like 2 weapons, or like my dashing ability on Dante and my rocket launcher, but each one of those had 1 upgrade. Well, I guess the dashing had a couple, but still, like, they didn't have many upgrades, so it was easy to do. But like the actual weapons themselves unlocked cool abilities the more like you went into it, and like I just really didn't have a huge opportunity to do that in the game because of how short it was. I'm a big fan of being able to fully upgrade everything, like you are maxed out when the end game hits. Now, I understand in this game that would have been kind of difficult because you were fully able to max out everything on multiple characters with multiple items and multiple things on each of them, but at the same time, yet again, like, make the game bigger, and now that's an opportunity. Haha. As I said, I honestly, because of the way that this ended, you know they're gonna make a Devil May Cry 6. It's gonna happen. I don't care who has to say what, it's going to happen. But I wish that this game was longer. I enjoyed it so much. I did. It is kind of a learning curve. I don't exactly like the button layout a huge amount, but I don't dislike it. Like, it's good. It felt good, but at the same time, it didn't feel smooth. It is the best way I can describe that, to be completely honest. I do wish that there was a lot more gameplay. There were a few mechanics that I found really unsavory or annoying. Specifically on Nero, his stupid sword, how he could increase its strength by holding and hitting a button. That was stupid. That was so stupid. And just yeah. Just make the game longer. Please just make the game longer and make you able to fully upgrade. Actually, I'll go into a little bit of the things that I did enjoy because I've really been negative the entire time. Just like, as I said, I love the combat. I thought the controls were good, but not great. I did enjoy being able to swap between characters and playing as different characters and doing things along that line. And playing each of the characters was fun in their own right. I liked how the combat was different for each one. The boss fights all seemed good. There was only one that seemed outright broken. And that was stupid, like Morpheus, I think her name was, or something like that. Something along that line where she, like, her bird just went into an angry mode and started hitting the shit out of you, and you couldn't do anything about it, and then it did it again, and I'm like, oh, thanks, my entire health bar is gone. That's great. That was the only fight that I thought was just flat out stupid. Yeah, combat good, weapons felt good, enemies felt like nice fighting them. Good variety in characters and weapons. Okay, I know I said earlier not enough weapons, but I still agree to that, but there was a good variety among them. Yeah, honestly, that really is my thoughts on Devil May Cry. I don't have a huge amount to talk about because there isn't enough fucking game to talk about it. Haha. But yeah, I'm just gonna end it on that point of just make the game longer. That's all that needed to be done, is just make the game longer. So if you agree or disagree with anything that I may have said, please put it in the comments down below. If you have your own opinion on the game or own opinion on specific things in the game that either I did talk about or didn't talk about, please put them down below. I would love to, like, read, maybe address it in the future, make a different video being like, such and such brought up this point, and I agree with them, blah, blah, blah. Something along that line. And, yeah. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more, then please subscribe. And I'm going to thank you all very much for watching and bid you all adieu. Goodbye.